Hello, I'm Jeff, one of the librarians at the Sacred Heart University Library. In this short video, we're going to cover what the library databases are, how to choose library databases for a research topic, and how to search in those databases effectively. The academic databases available to you through the Sacred Heart Library are curated, searchable electronic collections of published sources, usually academic journal articles, but sometimes also books, newspapers, and other materials. Often, the sources in these databases have gone through a peer review process, which means experts in the field have reviewed them for accuracy and quality before they were published. Many of your research assignments will require that you use peer-reviewed resources specifically. When it's time to choose a database or databases for a research project, know that the SHU Library subscribes to a wide range of databases that cover a variety of subject areas, such as business, humanities, and the health sciences. A good possible starting point for any research project is the Quick Search tool located right on the library homepage. This tool lets users search most of the library's databases all at once. Not only is this quite convenient, but can also be very useful for when you're brand new to the library's resources and aren't sure where else to specifically begin. However, because it searches most of the library's resources at once, it can possibly provide a very large number of search results depending on your topic, possibly too many for you to conveniently sort through. Often, it might be easier to search directly in the subject-specific databases instead. You can easily find the subject databases by clicking on the Find Databases button directly beneath the Quick Search. This will take you to the Databases by Subject page, where you will find all of our databases organized into over a dozen different subject areas. When you find the subject area that is most relevant to you, click on it, and that will take you to the Subject Database page, where you will find all the relevant databases listed in alphabetical order, complete with quick descriptions of what they cover. And at the top of every individual database subject page, you will find a section called the Best Bets. The Best Bets contains the largest and most commonly used databases for any specific subject area. And so if you know your subject area, but you don't know the specific database that will work best for you, you can reliably select a best bet database as a starting point. When it's time to actually start searching on the library databases, there are two important things to keep in mind. First, traditional databases do not work like Google and other search engines. While you can type a question into a search engine and be immediately understood, the library databases are much more literal. They will search for the specific words that you choose to search with. This means that you'll want to search using keywords, the core concepts from your topic, instead of full sentences or questions. Second, database searching is a trial and error process. There is no right way to search for any particular topic. You may find that some search term combinations will give you too many search results. Some search term combinations might give you too few search results. That is okay. It is a completely normal part of the process. Also, something very important to know is that most library databases are set up using multiple search fields connected with the options of and, or, and not. These connecting words will provide you with control over your search results. We'll do an example search topic using how social media affects stress in teenagers, where social media, stress, and teenagers will be our keywords. When searching in the library databases, you use AND to narrow down your searches by using it to tell the databases what specific search terms you would like to see together in your results. The more search terms that you add with AND, will mean more specific search results. Meanwhile, or works the opposite way. Or allows you to broaden out searches and include synonyms and similar search terms within a single search, which can be very helpful when you can use two or more terms for the same concept or idea that you're researching. You can type in or and add similar search terms directly within the search fields. And in many of our databases, as soon as you type in or after a search term that is one or more commonly used synonyms or similar search terms, your suggested search terms will often turn into synonym strings that you can pick and edit however you'd like. Not, meanwhile, lets you narrow down your searches by letting you exclude specific search terms from your search results. However, please be cautious when using not, because depending on the search terms that you choose to exclude, you might accidentally miss out on some relevant research for a research topic. Besides using and, or, and not, you also have the ability to narrow down your searches further using the available filter options. The two filter options that you will likely use the most in the databases are the peer review option and the publication date option. The peer review filter lets you narrow down your search results to articles that have gone through the peer review process, and this will be a requirement for many of your research assignments. The publication date range filter, meanwhile, allows you to filter your search results to resources that have only been published within a specific time span. And this might be required for certain assignments by professors who only want you to use more recent resources for an assignment. Also, a very specific database search technique worth knowing is quotation marks. In many of our databases, if you search with a term that is two or more words, the database, instead of searching for the exact term or phrase, will just look for articles and other resources that have all of the words in your term, but not necessarily in order or together. So for example, when searching with social media, you might get an article that has mentioned social in one place and media in a completely different place in a different context. If you find that this is having an effect on your search results, then you can just put quotes around any search term that's two words or longer, and the quotes will tell that database to look for that exact search term or phrase with those words together in that exact specified order. So, after that example search, let's just do one quick summary of the basics. Remember, when searching in the library databases, you use and to narrow down searches by specifying what terms you want to see together in your results. You use or to broaden your searches to include multiple synonyms and similar terms in a single search. You use not to narrow down your searches by specifying specific terms that you don't want to see in your results. Use the filters to narrow down your results by criteria such as peer-reviewed resources only or specific publication date ranges. Whenever you need to specify an exact search term or phrase, you use quotation marks. Also, remember, this is a trial and error process. Please allow yourself patience. Also, If you ever feel like you need any assistance with any part of the research process, please don't hesitate to reach out to your librarians, which you can easily do so from the library homepage by clicking the Get Help button, where you will find the contact information for the General Reference Desk and also all of your individual librarians. You're always happy and willing to help. Thank you very much for watching.